Hello and welcome to this next video in the Tableau for Sport series. This time we're going to look at calculating percentages. So often you want to know pass accuracy or shot percentage or different things. There's different ways of calculating it. Again, very much dependent on your data set, but I'm going to show you one way now. And this is ultimately what we're going to create. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to look at the passing success rate, so completed or incomplete, again in our Champions League final example. Okay, so we'll end up with a bar chart like this. So we can see Trent Alexander down the very bottom here at 36 odd percent and Gini Wijnaldum up at 100%. Okay, so let's dive into Tableau and have a look at this. Perfect. Okay, so again, I'm connected to the 2019 Champions League final, and you can watch some of the previous videos to find out how to get that data. It's from StatsBomb, and it's freely available to download. Okay, so let's go about building our chart. So first thing is we'll build it without worrying about the percentage first of all. And I think that's kind of the trick here. We're going to use something called a table calculation. So we're just going to build the chart first, and then nearly the last step I'm going to worry about the percentage. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to build this for a single team, but it can be done, of course, for multiple teams. Okay, we'll select Liverpool here. And let's go and grab our player name. So drop those in there. We're going to filter this to passes, so that's under my type name in this particular data set. So again, I'm going to go and do all this filtering nice and early. But this would work for any set of events really, but we're going to concentrate on passes here. Okay. Next up, I'm going to use this count. So again, if you've watched the previous videos, you'll know this is a simple count of rows. So really what this will do is Tableau is saying for each player in this game, for event type pass, count how many rows there were. So count how many passes these players had. So we'll make a standard bar chart here, and I'm going to make it entire view so it fills the screen. All right. So the first step here is we know how many passes have been made. The next thing I want to do is break this into complete or incomplete. Now I do have a pass outcome field here. If I do a search for it. Yeah, so we've got a pass outcome name. There's loads of pass parameters and qualifiers you can add to this, keeping this nice and simple here. So pass outcome name, I'm going to drop that onto the color, and what you're going to see is each player's bar is going to break into a number of different colors. So again, what Tableau is saying, right, for each player, count the number of passes. That's in my rows and my columns. And now by putting the pass outcome onto color, it's going to say for each pass outcome, give me a different color. All right. So we see over here on the right hand side, we've got null, incomplete, out, pass, offside, and unknown. Okay, and this is the default color palette that Tableau has used. So for example, with Henderson here, I can see he's made 2 that went out, presume that's out of play, 1 is incomplete, and 39 is null. And again, reading between the lines in this data set, I'm assuming that that means complete. Now for the purpose of this exercise, I don't need that level of detail in here, and there's also a few of these I want to exclude. And that can often happen. Your data might be collected at a different level. There's more qualifiers or more descriptors in there than you might need. So let's right click on the pass outcome name over here in our data pane, and I'm going to create a group. Create a group. Okay, this is going to create a new dimension over here, a new blue pill over here, and let's call it pass outcome group. Okay, you can come up with a better name than that. Let's have a look. So this is going to allow us group some of these together. So for example, this null, I'm going to create a group on its own, but I'm going to call that complete. Then we've got an injury clearance, which we're not really going to hammer people for if they clear the ball out of play. And we've also got these unknown. I don't think there's too many of them, but again, let's just control and select that one so that these two become a group on their own. And I'm actually just going to call this group exclude. Okay, because later on I want to exclude these. And then that leaves us with incomplete, out, and pass offside. And again, I'm going to click on those, create a group, and this is going to be called incomplete. Now the important thing to remember is this is one dimension over here. So it's going to be one new dimension on the left, but it's grouped these together. And you can see here if I hide these, they're indicated by a paperclip, and there's a couple of items in there. All right, and you can always add to these at a later point. So let's click OK. Our new field is added here, pass outcome group, and it has a little paperclip beside it to indicate that it is a grouped field. So now I want to put this onto color instead of the original pass outcome. So the easiest way to replace a field is actually just drop the new one you want right on top of the existing one, and it changes it around. So immediately that looks a little bit cleaner. Okay, there might be other charts or other reports where I want the full breakdown of the type of pass, but in here I'm just looking at complete or incomplete. And then I'm going to put the pass outcome group onto filters so I can uncheck this exclude one. Okay, so these are, as I said, injury and unknown. So I'm going to take those out of the data set in this case. So immediately this looks a lot cleaner. Okay, we've got complete and incomplete, but I'm going to turn this into a percentage. Okay, so percent of total. So for example, Van Dijk has 9 incomplete, 20 complete. So quick bit of maths, that's about a third are incomplete of his passes. Okay, so to do that, I don't necessarily have to create a calculated field. I can do what's called a table calc. So I'm going to come up to my count of events up here, the green pill in the columns. I'm going to click on the little drop down, and I'm going to do a quick table calculation. Now there's 2 steps to this. The first step will look like it hasn't worked. So the first one is I want a percent of total. Okay, so that's going to calculate the percent of total. So I click on that, and you see almost nothing changes here. Okay, now I'd encourage you to go and check out further videos on table calculations and full explanations, but really what's happening here is it's calculating each block as a percent of all of the team's passes. So for example, if I hover over this, I should get 100%, and you can see there that I do, these all add up to 100%. But I want to calculate each player's percent of total, and that's what's known as table across. So that's where we click on the green measure again and just say compute using table across. So at the moment it's table down, which is everybody together. Now I want table across, and then suddenly all of the bars begin to change. Okay, so I'm much happier with this. Let's tidy this up now. Again, I only want the completed passes in here. The temptation is to right click on the incomplete and maybe say exclude, and everything breaks. Everybody now is 100% passing. And that's to do with the way table calculations work. So they need those incomplete and complete in the view. So basically in this view that we're looking at here, in order to be able to compute the right percentage. So the minute I go and exclude incomplete, everything else just turns to 100%. So instead of exclude, the next one down is I can hide it. So I'm going to hide the incomplete passes. And now I've got everyone's percentage, 70, 82, 78. We check Van Dijk there, we can see, yeah, he's up at just about 2/3 or just over 2/3. Okay, so that hide feature when you create the table calculation is much better. Now, let's finish this off with a few little design things. I'm going to get rid of the player name. I'm going to get rid of the show header. And what I'm going to do is use the T, turn on the labels. And let's right click and format that. And say percentage with no decimal points. I'm going to sort it. You could slow the video down obviously and watch all this. And I'm going to give it the Liverpool color. So let me just throw team name onto color. And it should pick up our red from before. Oh, we won't do that. Let's just do it as a red. Okay, so now we can see, for example, Trent is at 50% in that Champions League final, and we have our percent of total. So again, we can go and make the header correct. So we can say player passing success. I'll show you one other trick here. Is I'm going to put the date of the game in. So the date is a filter that we set previously in other videos. It's a filter, and I can actually set it here, match date. So what this will do is it'll read the game date in the title itself. So insert, and you can insert some of these dimensions here. So if I click OK, you can see this is actually the 2018 final. So let me just show this filter and swap these around. So you can see when I turn on the 2019 filter, it gets put into the title. So again, that can be quite useful if you're ever going to screenshot these and put them somewhere else. Okay, so that is creating a percent of total within Tableau using the table calculation method. Thank you very much.